Welcome. This is Liz Mugavero / Cate Conte, and this is The Wicked Authors. Hey, Carolyn. Thanks for joining us here at The Wickeds.
Hi, happy to be here.
So, I'm talking with Carolyn Wilkins today, and she's been a friend of The Wickeds for a very long time, back in our way back days of all six of us. So, as we kind of launch into the new Wickeds 2.0 with the four of us, minus Barb and Sherry, sadly, we miss them all the time, but we're going to make them come back a lot. We're just talking to some people about, their favorite memories of the Wickeds, how the Wickeds have, been a factor in the local community and in the writing community and that kind of thing, because we've all known each other for a very long time. So I thought Carolyn would be a wonderful person to come on and talk a little bit about that. So I wanted to ask you, what was your first memory of meeting the Wickeds or any of the Wickeds?
Yeah, I have a good story about that. I had just joined Sisters in Crime. I was just uh, I think I had won my very first murder mystery out on a small press, Melody for Murder, which was about a teacher on the South Side. Anyway, Sisters in Crime had this event at a bookstore up in Newton where they would have a long series of tables and all the authors had their books out. And it was my very first time. I was feeling very shy. I didn't know anyone. I didn't really fully own that I was an author deserving of a table of books. I only had one book, I'm pretty sure. And meanwhile, you know how it is. People got
Yeah.
stacks of stuff, and I'm like here with my one little book. And I'll never forget, Barbara Ross
Mm-hmm.
said to me, "Oh, come sit here." And
Oh.
she made space on her table with her 20 books or whatever. She had all those clam baked Maine books. And she made a little space for me and she talked to me. And she just kind of made me feel welcome and made me feel comfortable, asked me about myself and told me about her and what she did and told me about Sisters in Crime. And then she proceeded to introduce me to Leslie Wheeler, who is the woman who is in charge of the Speakers Bureau at Sisters in Crime. She said, Barbara, to me, "Oh, you can go and talk at libraries about your book." And I was like, "Ooh, I can." So she introduced me. In other words, she took it upon herself to kind of take me under her wing, and just because she could see, I'm sure, that I was wicked uncomfortable and not feeling very much like one of the crowd. um, so that was one cool thing. And Barbara also, on her way out of the Wickeds, was the one who gave me some very helpful information about my current publishing house and my situation. Once again, advising me and offering me wisdom very generously. I also was one of the other early experiences. Sisters in Crime also does a thing during the Boston Book Fair where they have a booth.
Mm.
And, I didn't know anything about how to sign up for that or whatever. And I saw it late in the game and all the slots were taken. And Edith just took it upon herself. She said, "Oh, well, you can have mine. I don't have to do it. I've done it a million times. You do it. Here." And once again, just made space for me when she didn't have to. And sure enough, I sold a couple of books and I got to meet some of the other writers. Part of it is just getting to meet people. And as a shy person, just getting comfortable with and getting to know other people. And another person who was super helpful to me is Julie Henricus.
Mm.
And she gave me tons of advice on writing. If I'm not wrong, she read one of the 3 trillion early drafts I did of the book that I finally sold and is finally coming out this summer. She read a very early iteration of it and offered brilliant suggestions. And as you may remember, the three of us were going to actually have an event in Somerville where we were going to help people write and give them techniques for breaking through writer's block and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Um,
We need to
but
come back to that. That was actually a really
we
good idea.
do.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think the pandemic totaled it. If I'm not
Yes.
wrong, we got derailed, but um, so what I can say about the Wickeds, and every single time I've had a book to come out, which hasn't been all that often compared to
But
like
it's been
Venus,
plenty just
but
because,
I have.
right? Like a lot of people don't have any. So,
Right. Well, exactly. And every time I had a book to come out, you would generously let me come on and, do my little song and dance about my book. And it's always felt that a very supportive and warm environment of women. And last thing I'll say about that, having worked at Berklee College of Music in a predominantly male environment for decades, it was so rewarding to find women colleagues who were supportive and open and who helped lift me up. So that's
mm,
what I can say about the Wickeds. I
I love
appreciate
that.
you guys.
I love that. And I have to just say, it sounds like your experience with Barb that first time was like her removing any of the high school trauma of not being asked to sit at the lunch table,
Well, thank you.
right?
Because that's what and when you're new in a situation,
Yeah.
you do feel awkward and you
Yeah.
do feel uncomfortable, and it's nice. And sometimes we, who are now sort of the established, sometimes you forget how, someone else might feel or how much it means to someone to reach out and just speak to them, you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think, that's one of the reasons, before we jumped on the recording, you had asked me if we were going to, given Barb and Sherry's departure, if we were going to, continue and all of that. And I think what we had talked about was that, aside from we all still want to continue to write and, be out there and be part of the writers community, we felt really strongly that, we had a role in helping people who are just coming up and
That,
giving them a place to be and a place to talk about their work and just people, like you said, to feel like you're part of something. And
that,
so we wanted to make sure we still were able to do that.
that's right.
So thank you. Well, we're not stopping having guests, so we'll have you back when your book comes out. You have a book
Perfect.
coming out this summer,
This summer.
so we'll have you on the Wickeds. We can do video, we can do blog. This is the beauty of the new version. We're doing all different kinds of things. So if
Good.
people want to do blog posts like we used to do, that's totally fine. If you
Yeah,
want to jump on and do an interview, that's even better,
yeah.
right? So we're going to do all kinds of things, and
That's
so
great.
I look forward, or we all look forward to having you back in the summer.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.